You know, what I feel is within the next year and a half, you will meet somebody personally, not your character.
Okay.
You will meet somebody that's a positive relationship for you. Now, it's your willpower whether you move on it or not. The only thing that I see that might actually slow you down is if you put business before the relationship. So you're very multi-talented and you're used to multitasking. So the way you have to look at it is you have to look at it as the relationship is on the same level as your business. There's no conflict. What happens with you is you're so busy helping people, you always say, well, you know, I'm going to get to me, but let me do the show first. Let me see who I can get on that I can help. And then you forget about you, and you mean to get to you, but you really don't. So right now what you need to do is look at it as both of them being on an equal level, because in the next year and a half, you definitely have somebody coming in, as long as you don't cancel it by going, oh, I'm going to focus on business first, and then when I'm done, then I'll get to the relationship.
Yeah,
Okay,
well,
but you do have somebody positive coming in.
Yeah, 36,
You know.
28, 36, hike. No,
Well, there are some qualities that you absolutely need in a relationship, and remind me to tell you after
no,
the show.
Yeah, exactly. No, because
that's personal. Some things are personal.
Somebody that can put up with me, yes, yes, you need a sainthood practically, yes. I'm glad you're having fun.
You and I always have such a great time because we're serious about what we do, you know. But, you know, you have to have a little sense of humor.
Right. We know how to turn it on and off. Like, you know, click, 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 click.
Well, it's really funny because when you're speaking with a group of people, or I find one of the main things that I do is I'm a lecturer and a public speaker. If I'm speaking in front of hundreds of people, I'm fine. I'm kind of in that mode. Okay, and as soon as I'm away from there, if there's a private party with more than 5 people, I really don't want to go.
No, I understand. Believe me, I understand.
You know, and I always recommend your show to everybody because it's so versatile that if somebody watches your show, as an example, they're not interested in the martial arts.
Right.
The next time you have a show, it's going to be completely different.
Yes, I try.
So everybody finds something. You know, and sometimes you have a couple of people on the show, so they might be more interested in one subject than the other.
Yes.
You know, and it's always fun.
Yes, yes.
Always. And really, how many shows do you get to see that are actually fun?
Yes, exactly. You know, exactly.
You know. And by the way, when and where can people see your show?
Well, since I don't like to brag about myself, but I'm going to do it anyway.
But I asked.
Yes, exactly. You asked. I'm on Sundays, Channel 34, Time Warner Cable Access. Here on Channel 34, on Fios, Verizon Fios, I'm on Channel 34, I think the 5 boroughs. If you want to contact me, go to my website at www.homeinvadersvarietyshow.com, or if you'd like to email me to be on homeinvaders@yahoo.com. What a self-plug, thank you.
Well, again, it's because I asked. Because on your own, I know you're not going to mention it.
No, I won't.
You know, and by the way, they're in the credits.
Thank you, yes, thank you.
Now, we were talking about your dog earlier.
Yes.
And you were originally going to bring him, and then, you know, it turned out that we couldn't. Right. Yeah, you know, which is fine, you know, but I was wondering how your dog's doing, because I know there were some health issues.
My dog has cancer of the anal sac. Okay, and cancer, it's a very aggressive cancer, especially for this particular dog. Now, I tried radiation on him. It worked for a little while. And then after that, chemo. Now, the more expensive chemo, which they tried first, did not work. Now I'm trying different sorts of chemotherapy.
Right.
Now, I don't want to punish the dog anymore. He's still vibrant. He's still still kicking. And every time I go to the vet, as a matter of fact, every time I do go to the vet, I always tell him, is he suffering? Because that's one thing I don't want to do.
Well, you're very sensitive. That's normal for you.
But in general, though, I could be a heart of stone, though, if they cross my line. Don't get me wrong. Don't let
well,
this
that's
fool
a
you.
different thing.
Don't let me
and
fool
that's
you.
your personal life.
Yeah, exactly. No, but in general, too, because on the show, because I've had people try to take over once in a while, and I'm going to say, no, stop. Even I'll tell them on the show. But when it comes to the dog, that dog's been with me for, God knows, I would say 11 years. I would say 11 to 12 years.
That's a really long time.
And it's funny. When my grandfather, when I first brought the dog in, he didn't want it. But after a while, he liked the dog, but he was scared too, because he didn't want to see the dog die.
Oh, well,
But
of
my
course,
grandfather
that's hard.
died before he did, because I don't know what he died of, but one of the most horrendous things that I seen, which is when he was having blood clots coming out of his penis.
Ah,
So I had to pick up I had to pick him up, take him,
Yeah.
and then he was hooting and hollering over at the. I didn't know what to do, but the dog helped him. The dog helped him, and on that note, he gets tough because
course,
you know it's the
emotionally.
same with a parent. You don't want to see them hurt or anything of that nature. The same with the dog. I don't want to see.
Well,
him
that's
hurt.
like family.
Yeah, exactly. And some people say, well, why are you putting so much money into it?
but again,
On
it's
the dog,
family.
yeah. So I'm hoping and I do pray that I not only become a success in this field, in the entertainment field, so that I can start doing charity work more. I'll probably start doing that now.
Yeah. Well, you already
so-
started.
Yeah, I'm going to start
You know.
doing it, and I'm probably going to start with a movie too. Believe it or not, I'm actually have that in the works as well. But
Oh, that's wonderful.
all in all, though, when it comes to the dog, I try my best to keep it healthy, and but when that time comes, it's going to be hard. It's
Oh,
gonna be
of
hard for
course.
everybody.
Of course, and we were talking about that earlier.
Yes.
That as we were talking earlier, I'm a
Yes.
healer, so I'm a healing minister, so I'm a spiritual healer. I'm also I also do Erme Qigong, and then I have my own system, the Spirit Rainbow Healing System. And I find that most people, when they're into spiritual things, the mistake that they make, and we've talked about it earlier,
Right.
they look at pets as the same energy as people. So they're sending them green or pink light
Right.
or pink energy because those two are healing colors for people.
Right.
And it's a tremendous mistake. It's not going to hurt them, It just doesn't do anything because when you're sending energy to any pet, any animal, the color is red.
Color's red.
So anybody that's trying to speed up the natural healing process of a pet, if you send them red energy, or if somebody can't visualize that, because everybody doesn't visualize, if you get a red light bulb and you just put it in the room where the pet is for 15 to 20 minutes at a time, it speeds up the natural healing process. You can't do it more than 20 minutes because it'll off balance, but
Right.
you can do it more than once a day.
Yeah.
And if your pet or if the animal wants to pass on, because we all go through cycles.
Yes.
Okay. If it's at that point, then what we do is we send energy for a transition, which means that it's going to be easier, it's going to flow, it's not going to be painful.
Right, right.
So they'll just kind of ease into it. It's a tremendous difference. Of course, we do that with people in a different way, but again, they're family.
Well, that's true, and hopefully I will take you on that advice, because when that time comes, I'm going to be drinking more than what I drink now. But
Like I said,
Yeah.
we're going to work on some healing later.
yeah, and hopefully heal
know.
with some of these women in my my show.
So thank you so much
Thank
for
you very
Hector for
much.
coming,
Thank
and I
you.
really appreciate it. And I love your show, and everybody needs to watch
I
it.
hope to be back.
Definitely. We're going to set something up and find out how your dog's doing.
Yes.
We'll catch up on how your career's going, which is going to be phenomenal.
Great, so go ahead, hit it.
Okay. So, would you like to know how knowledge gives you power? Then stay tuned for the Spiritual Corner coming up next. Don't go away. Today we're talking about how knowledge is power. Now, there are two types of knowledge. There's spiritual knowledge, which means you're using other than your five senses. And there's intellectual knowledge, which means you're studying, you're working at it, and when you combine the two, you have power. Okay. Now, when you're working with the path of light, you see the world differently. You see it the way Magi saw it, shaman, occultists, and religious leaders as an example. Okay. Now, this knowledge was always passed down master to initiate, shaman to shaman, and they became seers, healers, religious leaders, spiritual warriors. Now, Spiritual knowledge is when you have like a gut feeling. Now, everybody's had this experience at some point in their life. Spiritual knowledge is where your very first instinct. Have you ever noticed, as an example, the first time you meet somebody, you either like them or you can't stand them? Okay. That's a gut feeling. Or if somebody presents an idea to you and you want to do that, but you're listening to the idea and the first time they bring it up, you go, oh, it doesn't feel right. Or it feels right. You really need to learn to move on that. Your first instinct is 100% accurate. It's psychic, it's intuitive. Again, that gut feeling. It's 100% accurate. Your second feeling, it's emotion, it's logic, it's 50-50. Okay? So you want to get to pay attention to that first feeling. We don't always have that, but when you do, you want to pay attention. Again, it's 100% accurate. Intellectual knowledge is when you're reading, you're studying, you go to the library, you learn from a friend, life lessons. Okay? So that's intellectual knowledge, and you want to combine the two. Now, I've come up with 6 steps with knowledge to gain power. So as an example, say you were looking for a job. The first step would be, okay, to list your abilities. Okay. Not what you're doing as a job now, because it may not be something you like. You may be good at it, but again, if you don't like it or if you're not good at that particular thing, you don't want to put it on there. So first you want to list your abilities. Second, you want to put what of those do you actually like. So as an example, somebody could be phenomenal at drawing or as an artist. It does not mean that they want to do that for a living. Okay. So you have to look at what of those do you like? The third step is, what would you like to achieve? You have to have a goal for this to work. If you don't have a definite goal, if you're going, oh, maybe I'll do this, maybe I can do 5 different things because I have 5 abilities, you need to pick one as your main goal now. Now, that means the main goal that you pick, you could be doing it for 20 years or a month and then switch, but you have to pick one goal at this time. And the next thing is you want to look at what stops you. So as an example, it could be that you don't have enough time. It could be that where you're living, it's not conducive to that type of job. You want to look at what your excuse is to yourself. It's not verbal to other people. You're the only one that knows. So to achieve your goal, you need to kind of step back and say, okay, these are what are my obstacles, and what can I do to change them? The next one is, whatever you choose to do, focus on it as a goal to manifest, then get the knowledge so you can achieve. Okay. Also, you want to go after it, and you want to focus on it. Okay. Just remember, you can achieve. Okay. Thank you all for joining us today. Don't forget to tune in for upcoming episodes on The Spiritual World with Maria. If you would like more information on anything you heard today on the show, a copy of the shows, or for deeper meaning of Ishtan Hozot, okay, go to www.mariadeandreasolomon.com. You will see that and other contact information at the end of the show. May God bless you abundantly.